Gbadebo Olameru is the MD CEO of Gafort Group. Please give you a round of applause for him while he makes his way to the stage. Thank you, sir, for coming. That's the CEO of Gafort Group. We also want to invite to the stage Mr. Lanley Omojola. He's the Director General, Lagos State Safety Commission. Please, if you are here, we request that you make your way here to the stage, please.
Hey, bro.
Other dignitaries that are expected today, for today's program will include Engineer Mrs. Abiola Koshigbe. She is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development. We got information now that she's not here yet, but as we get further information, we're going to update our members on that. Okay, I'll proceed to read the citation for Mr. Gbadebo Olameru, the MD Gafort Group. Mr. Gbadebo Olameru sits as the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Gafort Group, an investment group which, with interest in real estate development, construction, automobile, and insurance agency practice. Gafort Property and Home Limited is a real estate company that specializes in real estate development, buying, selling, and management of various real estate investments for clients and investors. Gafort Autos Limited and Auto Sales Limited deals in the sales and service of brand new cars and articulated trucks, oven bake of vehicles, and refurbishment and upgrading, repairs, and general auto servicing and maintenance. While Mr. Gbadebo Olameru Agency GOA is an independent insurance agency firm with 2 decades of professional insurance transactions in life, non-life, and annuity businesses, recruitment and retainership experts, master strategists, master drivers, and big volume premium initiatives, and in-depth experience in insurance agency operations. Prior to the establishing the above fast-growing subsidiary companies of Gafort Group, he has played in the insurance industry, occupying various executive capacities, including former president Association of Registered Insurance Agencies of Nigeria. National Agency Coordinator, SUNU, Association SUNU Assurances PLC. Agency Manager, ICO Insurance PLC, and many other positions. He is a quick learner who can create new ideas and can communicate clearly and effectively when working with people at all levels. Publications on insurance will include his passion for the insurance industry geared him towards publishing several newspapers, publications, and insurance, which include, with only 2% penetration in the Nigerian 2% penetration, Nigeria's lack of knowledge and insurance industry and housing deficit. Nigerian resort to mortgage-based cooperative business format 25th, 29th July 2022. Gbadebo is a distinguished member of the Chartered Institute of Insurance of Nigeria, CIIN, Institute of Chartered Economists, ICEN, Chartered Institute of Cost Management, Fellow of the Association of Registered Insurance Agencies of Nigeria, and a Fellow of the Professional Excellence Foundation of Nigeria. He holds an MSc in Cost Management from the Ladoke Akintola University in 2010, HND in Banking and Finance from the University of Lagos, from Lagos State Polytechnic in Solo, and is happily married, children. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Mr. Gbadebo Olomiro. Can we just also give a round of applause for Mr. Larry Omojola? Thank you, sir. Mr. Larry is the Director General of Lagos State Safety Commission. Mr. Larry graduated with a BSc in Estate Management from the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife, Nigeria, in the year 2000. He possesses an MSc degree in Facility and Asset Management from the Herod University, Edinburgh, United Kingdom, and an MBA in Facility and Construction Management from the Sheffield Hallam University, United Kingdom. He is also a certified member of CIWFM of the Institute of Workplace and Facilities Management, UK, and a member of the International Facilities Management Association, IFMA, United States of America. Mr. Larry possesses other professional qualifications such as Prince 2, Project Management Certification, IOSH, Institute of Occupational Health and Safety, NEBOSH, Graduate Certificate, General Certificate, besides the above mentioned qualifications. He is also a member of several associations such as Association of Project Managers, UK, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, UK, and many more. At his first degree, he worked as a project manager at Crown Realties PLC, developers of several residential estates across Nigeria. He also worked with the Central Bank of Nigeria and Guaranty Trust Bank before joining the board for furthering his education. During his time in the United Kingdom, he worked with Lord's TBS Group, the Assets Finance Division in Edinburgh. Thereafter, he joined the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DFRA, in London as a facilities management consultant to the United Kingdom government. Upon expiration of his project with DFRA, he joined Intersouth Facilities Management PLC London in 2008 to work on some contracts. He managed the integrated facilities management team, external services providers, and their supply chain. His other responsibilities included project management, performance monitoring and management, quality, health, safety, and environment management. Lanre has delivered several training sessions and attended conferences on facilities and project management, sustainable operation, recycling and renewables, energy and carbon reduction, occupational health and safety within Nigeria and abroad. He was the lead consultant that produced the facilities and environment management blueprint for state government, the federal government, while several capacity development training programs. Aside from his facility management consultancy and real estate development company he founded 8 years ago, he has recently focused on monitoring and coaching through collaborations with several foundations. He has also served as an associate lecturer at the University of Lagos, where he taught facility management courses at part-time level for MSc students. He is currently the Director General and CEO, Lagos State Safety Commission, the agency of Lagos State responsible for the safety of lives and properties across the state. The Commission has been very active in keeping Lagosians safe through strategic interventions and regulations. When not working, he enjoys watching football and Formula One, and also loves listening to music. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly make welcome for Mr. Lanre Omojola, Director General, Lagos State Safety Commission. Thank you, sir, for coming. We also announced the presence of the General Manager, Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Agency, Town Planner Idris Osho. Kindly request to make your way to the stage, please. Town Planner Idris Osho. Please give me a round of applause. You're welcome, sir. Sorry for, the name is Daisy, Tamplanner Daisy Osho. He's the General Manager of Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Agency. Once again, make welcome for him, sir. Please. Thank you very much. We brought to inform that one of our panelists is around. Can we kindly make welcome for Mr. Kayode Omotosho, Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Modern Banking. Kindly make welcome for him. Thank you. Thank you for coming. He is Mr. Kayode Omotosho. He's the Executive Secretary, Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria. Once more, can we just give him another round of applause, please? So, we have 4 panelists sitting, and we want to commence discussion while we expect other members of the panel to come and join us as they arrive. So I would like to invite the moderator of this session, to proceed from there. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, discussants. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Going by the theme of the conference, which is the shifting landscape, redefining the real estate industry. I will want to quickly do a brief introduction of this theme and the sub-themes so that we'll have a good kickoff of the discussion today. The theme, the shifting landscape, we know is something that is in trend right now, and this is basically on sustainable development. Where we consider shifting the landscape, we're talking about sustainable development, which is that development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So we'll be looking at developments that are sustainable, that will not contravene or compromise the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And we have SDGs. This theme, we can also look at it as being factored from the Sustainable Development Goals, where we have 17 Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations, and then the goals are now categorized into 5 as having environmental sustainability, economic growth, social development, poverty goals, and global partnership. This has been described by Park and Jack in 2021. So the ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance, is also factored from the Sustainable Development Goals. It relates to investments. All those factors that we put into investment consideration when we talk about investments in the construction industry, the investments in projects that are sustainable, how business carry out their activities in areas of environment, social, and governance, as it relates to the 17 sustainable goals that we have. And so many has been said about this yesterday in the discussion that we have, where we looked at such issues as climate change that was really discussed yesterday as one of those factors that we consider under the environmental factors. And this is also part of what we have in the ESG factors that is a trend right now, talking about impact of our construction on the planet, that is in terms of climate change, carbon emission, the social impact in terms of organizational impact of people, the environment, staff, customers and community, and governance, how organizations go about their governance. So having looked at that brief introduction, so that we all be in the same line in this discussion. So we want to look at how we have developments that are sustainable, and then we also look at issues of local content as well in our discussion. So I will first of all direct my first question, or we start the discussion from Mr. Larry Omojola. When we talk about shifting landscape in redefining the real estate industry, health and safety we cannot rule out issues of health and safety. So we want to start on the issue of health and safety. We want you to, in 10 minutes, tell us how the health and safety of all stakeholders, how they cannot be left out where we talk about the shifting landscape, talking about sustainability, climate change, social, environmental governance. We want you to talk on how the Commission, the Lagos State Safety Commission, is addressing this issue, or to ensure that we have best practice of health and safety of developers and construction professionals. So, Mr. Larry Omojola, you have the floor, please. Thank you. 10 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. It's always very difficult to begin first. I suppose it's a very early morning for a lot of people. Thank you very much. I'm more than honored to be here to speak on health and safety, particularly with regards to the environmental sector, particularly with regards to the built industry. I'd like to stand on all existing protocol, and I would like to start off by saying that safeguarding our people is our core aim as Lagos State government. And we believe that we're as strong as the safety of our people. The current things agenda of this current administration led by our governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola, talks about 6 main pillars. And the 6th pillar is security, is governance and security. And this governance basically controls and connotes and makes every single pillar sit on it. The foundation that all the other pillars stand on. So safety basically is the state of being free from harm. And we know that harm is anything that has potential to hurt. And as the Safety Commission, it's our role, it's our responsibility to ensure that our people, the citizenry of Lagos State, the good people of Lagos State, understand the rudiments of safety. Understand that before you do or act, safety comes first. Also, just to reiterate what you said earlier in your opening, you mentioned the SDG goals. Occupational safety and health sits primarily across all the SDG goals, but two may come to mind, which is SDG goal 3, which talks about good health and well-being, and SDG 7, that talks about economic growth and decent work conditions. Now, the way I would like to relate this is to bring this into the built environment, where as builders, as people in the construction sector, our sites are our work environments. As such, we need to think about the importance of safety on our work sites. And safety basically starts from within. It is you first. And as the adage goes, they say safety first. What this means is that you can't be providing safety for someone else when you have not, first of all, made yourself safe. Now, thinking about construction safety, I'm speaking specific to the built environment, and I'm speaking to the builders that I have here. Because Safety Commission covers a whole remit of different socio-economic areas, from construction safety to food safety to road safety to aviation safety to transport safety to food safety. I mean, wherever there's any human interaction, there's a need for safety. As we're all sitting in this podium today, there's a need for safety. So specifically to construction safety, the ILO is is the agency under the United Nations that's in charge of labor. And the statistics they have is that 2.3 million people die every year because of work-related accidents and injuries. Out of the 2.3 million people, roughly 30% of this are construction related. What this means is that 690 people die every year on construction sites. Now let's try and bring this back home. What this means is that about 200 people die every hour in construction sites. Now this is a very high number. And I've seen some of these accidents happen. I've seen people working at heights without protection. I've seen people not understanding anything about construction safety. So the message is for us to build a sustainable growth, for us to ensure that our construction site workers do not go to work and come back home in body bags. We need to put safety first. Now, how do we put safety first? We need to realize that, first of all, safety starts from within. How do I ensure that I'm safe? How do I ensure that people around me are safe? It's only when I ensure that I'm safe that I can ensure the safety of people around me. And there's some core concepts that we typically use when we're having forums like this. The first is elimination of risks. Risks are the things that crystallize, that then cause accidents, that cause injuries, that lead to fatalities. But once you can identify those risks, which are a lot of them, on construction sites, you can have risks as small as slips and trips. I've been to construction sites where there are nails all over the place, people step on them, there are wires dangling, people trip across them, there are people walking at heights without harness, they can fall. I've seen people suffocate. I've seen situations where people faint or pass out because they're walking in manholes while they're doing soakaways and the likes. I've seen walls fall on people on construction sites. I've seen people mixing chemicals, POP plasters. I've seen people mixing chemicals with their bare hands, and a lot of these chemicals are hazardous to health. They have chemicals that can cause them bodily harm later on. I've seen people inhale all sorts of substances without understanding the implication of the after effect of these substances on their health. It might not be immediate, it might be in a year's time, it might be in 5 years' time, it might be in 10 years' time. But a lot of these accidents are due to work-related sicknesses. So the first thing is for you to eliminate these risks. And a lot of what we're doing within the Lagos State government, within Lagos State Safety Commission, is to train people on identifying these risks. Because once you can identify the risks, it makes your job so much easier. So once you identify the risk, the next thing is for you to eliminate the risks. And then also, we have to realize that we live in an imperfect world. We don't expect that accidents will not happen. We don't expect that incidents will not happen. These things will happen. But how do we reduce them? And it's the reduction that is the very important part. That in the event that this accident crystallizes, how do I reduce it to ensure that I'm not in any harm? I don't also cause bodily harm to people that are working around me. So the next point is reduction of risk. It's very important for us to understand that once we've identified this risk, we've eliminated them. If they do crystallize, how do we reduce them? Further to this is also isolating these risks, because it's important that even when you reduce a risk, if it crystallizes, what's the bandwagon effect? So it's important for us to understand how to isolate them. That, okay, this is let's say this place is a construction here, and they're carrying out welding works. And you also have next to the welding works gas cylinders that they're using for storage. If the welding work crystallizes and there's a spark, how do I ensure that that spark does not affect the gas or the containers that I've kept closed? Because if it does, then you can have an explosion. So from the point of construction safety, from the point of building engineering safety, you remove these things, you put them in places where if that risk crystallizes, it does not cause a bandwagon effect that even now makes the problem even bigger. And that is where isolation of risk comes in. There's also the part of control of risks and wearing PPE. So let's assume that everything has happened. You've done everything. You've done your risk analysis, you've done your elimination, you've done your isolation, you've done your control, you're disciplined on site, and the risk still occurs. How do you ensure that you protect yourself? That is where you need to now ensure that you wear your PPE. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, we believe that once you wear your PPE, you are safe. No, the PPE is the last stand that holds all these other things. But again, aside wearing your PPE, we also need to ensure that you're wearing it the right way. And you also are wearing certified PPE. Because there are a lot of people that go around with hard hats, they go around with high-vis jackets, they go around with safety boots, but these safety boots are not safe. They're almost just as good as you wearing canvas or sneakers or trainers, because once you step on that nail still penetrates through the sole, or if something drops on that safety, on that canvas, the sharp metal can still press through and hurt or injure you. So you need to ensure that your safety boots are steel-toe caps, such that in the event that the risk crystallizes, you are safe. These and many others are some of the things that we will continue to do. We continue to carry out advocacy sessions. We've had several advocacy sessions. We've had several workshops with different sectors. And specifically speaking to the construction safety industry, it's important for us to understand that we're as strong as our people, we're as good as our people. If we rush into doing work, you find out that an accident occurs and slows down the work. Four main areas that we have identified as areas that cause people to have accidents on site. So one is rushing. We typically find clients come up with very bogus, almost impossible, I want this house built in 6 months. I mean, a house that you're going to have to do the substructure, you have to do the superstructure, you have to do piping, maybe, you have to do casting, you have to do finishing, you have to do roofing, you have to do decoration, and the man comes and says 6 months. How is this possible? We as professionals, we need to ensure that we have programs of work. We have to clearly lay out our program of work, and let's put our stamp and let's put our band on it. We're not going to rush this road, because 9 out of 10 times when you rush to do something, you rush out of it because of an accident occurs. The second is frustration. We've also, because of the climate that we live and work in, I mean, imagine someone that lives in maybe Bejuleki that has a project in Animosho. You can imagine the number of man-hours that he's going to be stuck in traffic, or eventually you're waiting for cement from Ogun State, and your casting is about to be done in Ajah, and your 600-bed cement truck is stuck in traffic on the mainland, and all your casters are there. Everybody is frustrated. By the time they bring the materials and you want to start work, you're already frustrated, you're agitated. There's a high propensity that an accident can occur. So it's very important that when we want to do critical works on site, we need to ensure that we're not frustrated. We need to ensure that even if we're frustrated, we don't transfer that frustration to our team of artisans and our workmen. The third is complacency. And I'd like to talk a little bit about this, where in our own research, we find out that people have been doing it this way. We've been doing it for the past 30 years. We've not had an accident. Ladies and gentlemen, it does not mean that you will not have an accident tomorrow. The fact that you've been carrying out that work process in a very unsafe manner does not state that an accident is not going to occur in the next minute. Accidents never warn people when they're going to occur. There's nobody that will leave the house and get on the road and say, I'm driving to a house Saturday and I want to have an accident. I don't think that is a sensible person. Obviously, if you're in that state of mental state, that person must be a mad person. So accidents do not just, they don't warn you. They occur and they're unplanned. And that's why we need to ensure that we plan for accidents when they occur. We plan by reducing the risk, we plan by identifying the risks, we plan by isolating the risk, we plan by ensuring that there's discipline on our construction sites, there's a clear line of command, and also ensuring that our people are protected by wearing PPE. So complacency is something that we, even after you've mastered it, and you believe that you're the master, and you believe that you've got all these things, you have to continue to do self-continuous improvement, to continue to identify where these hazards are, to continue to eliminate these hazards before they crystallize into risks. The Lagos State Safety Commission will continue to work with all sectors, will continue to work with all participants on how we can build a safer culture for negotiations. Our mission and our vision is building a culture of safety. And the culture of safety is that where before you act, it's almost innate, where I can almost imagine that 20 years ago when you get into your vehicle, you probably will not strap down. But now it's almost immediate that once you get into your vehicle, As you're starting your engine, the next thing you're doing is you're strapping down, you're fastening your seatbelt before you move. It's this culture of safety that we're trying to build, where people would understand that there are actions or there are inactions that indeed cause accidents that can lead to fatalities across sites. We will continue to work with different sector participants in building this culture of safety in the state. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. You have really done a great justice to that. And in your discussion, you made mention of accidents occurring which are inevitable. As much as possible, we want to reduce that. I would like to direct the second discussion to Mr. Gbadebo Olameru to tell us how, using by means of insurance, that we can have these accidents being taken care of. You know, as insurance practitioner, considering incessant building collapse that we have, leading to loss of lives and properties, investments as well are being lost. We have cases that are happening of recent of where we have multiple investors in a certain property, and then there was building collapse of that property. So we want you to please educate us on measures available by your industry in safeguarding stakeholders through insurance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Privilegedly, I want to say a profound thank you for the honor for us to be on this podium. And I'd like to stand on the existing protocols. Construction and the built industry is a major industry in the ecosystem of the Nigerian country. I'd like to share a very short story. The story happened in the year 1994, somewhere at the exit of Lagos around Oluwaya. I'm telling the story from the builder beside the graveyard. And there is this specific builder that got a very unique contract very close to the graveyard. And he has gotten the job, and men were on site, construction was ongoing, and he had a call from one of the directors of his organization, and he quickly took a walk. On his way to see his MD, he called the site manager to ask that if they've done a certain job has been done. And the site manager asked and said, which of the job are you talking about? And he said, the septic tank. Have you done the septic tank? And he said, sir, the rain is drizzling. We will not be able to dock the septic tank. We hopefully, by tomorrow, we will dock the septic tank. And the site manager was very, very annoyed. And before you know what was happening, it was around 6, 7 in the evening, and he decided to go back to check the site. On his way back to the site, walking majestically, believing that the septic tank had been docked. And before you see the Japanese thing, he stepped on a plank and he fell into the 7-foot septic tank that had been docked. And event overturned and the rain started dropping very massively. He tried all he could from 7 p.m. to climb up. For 3 good hours, he could not climb to the next stage. He tried profusely and just thought within himself was losing all the strength. He said, perhaps it's 10:30, 11. In another 5 hours, the day will break. Guys will come to the site and will rescue me out. In the euphoria of that thought, he had a tap at his back saying, don't worry, we can stay here together. Immediately he looked back. He didn't see anybody. He jumped out within the taking of an hour and he was out of the road and he started running. Now what is my story? He fell in a gully beside a graveyard, and the mind simply told him that perhaps it was a ghost that tapped him and said, only going, just stay here, let's stay together. Before you knew it, he was out of the entire hall. So this is what the insurance industry brings on board, that there are power, there are constraints, there are intentions that we think we cannot achieve, but with the right mindsets, with determination, you'll be shocked that we can change the narrative of change that are coming into the industry. For the insurance industry, we are one very strategic partner to the beauty industry. We have seen over the years that we have formulated a lot of laws to see how we can protect, build across all spectrum of the beauty industry. We didn't feel to say that construction that is ongoing within a floor does not require a lot of insurance. The construction that is ongoing within the second floor mandatorily requires that we must be insured. Because that was insured, a lot of practitioners neither take this full insurance as the case may be. So the insurance industry has looked in-depthly and we have provided on-the-spot solution by providing a wrapped-up insurance policy that can help both the owners of the contractors and the contractors together. So it's either you're buying a CSET, which is a contractor-controlled insurance policy, or an OSET, which is an owner's controlled insurance policy. Now, if you're buying an owner's controlled insurance policy, you're likely to pay for almost all of the contractors and all the subcontractors and the subcontractors that need relevant insurance to mitigate against untimely or unforeseen risks that could happen in the course of the insurance. So for us as practitioners, we are advising that it is better that you do an CSET, a contractor-controlled insurance policy. No, so as a contractor, all I need to do is to deal directly with the owner of the policy or with the government, or the contractor determines the kind of insurance that you can have. The insurance policy does not just cover the construction and the process of construction, it also covers public liability. In the course of construction, anything could happen to the staff, to the guys on the site. In the course of construction, a moving truck or a moving car by the side of the truck can be damaged. Now, that is called public liability. So we have public liability to also take care of bodily injury, loss of life, loss of properties, and all of the necessary information acquired. The intersect collapse of buildings in Lagos, in Nigeria, and in the world is a general phenomenon. Like I was said yesterday, whether we like it or not, collapse is part of the building. So as an insurance practitioner, we have identified to create the real value that can provide on the spot solution to the insurance industry. Climate change is a major constraint that has increased the number of collapsed buildings in the world. So the insurance industry is collaborating with all of the relevant stakeholders to see how we can mitigate and provide incentives and revenue generation incentives for the beauty industry across the world. You will be shocked that across the world there are 10 major claims combined that the insurance company has paid. 10 biggest claims in hundreds of billions of dollars. In fact, the first and the second highest claim the insurance industry has paid is in hundreds of billions of trillions of dollars. And out of the 10 biggest claims the insurance industry has paid, 7 out of these 10 claims came from climate change. And climate change invariably affects the beauty industry effectively on all of the things that we do. The second of the 7th one is the financial crisis that happened in 2008. It was a major claim that the insurance industry also played. The one that we are trying to collate all of the details now to know is the pandemic that happened in the last couple of years. It is most likely that the pandemic or the 9/11 incident will be the major claim that the insurance industry has paid in the history of time. So what am I saying? There is a requisite relationship between the insurance industry and the build industry. No gainsaying this any longer, that the government cannot regulate the built industry against collapse of buildings and all the necessary challenges that are here and there. So there is need for us to do strategic alliances with relevant stakeholder sector that has key interest in the built industry. The insurance industry played a very dominant role in providing on-the-spot solution from the beginning to the end. Now, as an insurance practitioner, I will not wait to be part of the built industry until there is a claim. Now, we have a pool of investment in our offers that a certain percentage of it must be invested into certain percentage of the sector of the economy. I can tell you emphatically that in hundreds of millions, hundreds of billions of naira, the insurance industry has in their offers to invest into construction, into build, into development, into crystallizing, unifying value proposition to the built industry. So the built industry can take value from that unique opportunity for the insurance industry. So we are hoping for you to come and partner with us and see how we can synergize and continue to unify the growth proposition of the built industry. And finally, the industry is practically looking at building vertically. You will know that the risks involved in vertical construction cannot be compared to horizontal construction. So vertical construction is a major constraint that it cannot be put together without adequate consulting with the insurance industry so that we can be able to provide the very critical rules of engagement to making this happen. I will not be complete if I don't mention the collapse at the Gerard Road, the 21-story building. You will be shocked that a lot of underscored value propositions are mentioned within the insurance industry. I wish I am privileged to unveil certain numbers as regards to that incident, but I'd like to hold my stew for now and say thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you give him one round of applause? Permit me to welcome our Royal Father, His Royal Majesty, Oba Builder Adedire Adewale Solomon, the Onifukunwa of Ife, representing Oni of Ile-Ife. Can you give me a round of applause, please? You're welcome, our Royal Father. I also want to inquire if the representative of the Permanent Secretary for Ministry of Fiscal Planning is present. Engineer Mrs. Koshebe. Do we have our representatives here? Okay, thank you very much. So we proceed with the discussion.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Olamero, for that discussion. I would like to direct the next discussion to Mr. Kayode Omotosho, the CEO, Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria, to briefly, because of time, I would want to reduce that 10 minutes now, because I've been told that we are running out of time. So we want you to please just tell us how the mortgage sector, because from our discussion yesterday, we were able to understand that the mortgage sector has been helping out in addressing the problem of housing deficits. So we want you to please, as much as the mortgage sector is addressing housing deficits, what are those emphases that are being placed on the inclusion of environmental and social factor in development? When we look at we want to fine-tune it to the shift, to the theme of this conference, which is the shifting landscape, where we want to put into consideration environmental, social, and governance. We want to look at sustainability as much as possible. So we want to know if there are any means or by any measure or anything in place by the mortgage sector in ensuring that we have inclusion of environmental and social factors in development, because we know that the mortgage sector will help in financing. Do we have anything in place as to ensure that what is being financed or what is being mortgaged is inclusive of sustainability? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. The prayer will be here, and congratulations to the council of legislators. So to be very clear, you have made my principle because it is definitely part of our interest and commitment that houses and housing units that will be pledged for mortgage facilities have all the characteristics of both longevity as well as survival of environmental issues. Even though as mortgage banks, we are not directly involved in building, however, because of our collaboration as well as environmental sensitivity, we do collaborate with the real estate developers who are the housing supply investors to ensure that housing units that will be utilized as collateral are very well protected and they do satisfy the environmental necessities that climate will demand. We are gradually moving into green buildings, gradually because it is in our thought and is already starting. And we believe that in the years ahead, there will be more green buildings in Nigeria, which will definitely satisfy the environmental necessities that climate will impose on us. I think that is what I can say as of now. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Is a round of applause for you, please. That is true. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. CPL Daisy Osho, Town Planner Daisy Osho, the GM of Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Agency. We would like to know how sustainability is being considered in planning, building production, and then consumption as well. Because this is one of the SDG goals that we have that talks about responsible consumption and production. And when we talk about responsible consumption and production, here we're referring to responsibility in terms of the environment, in terms of our social interactions in the community, in the environment, one towards the other. Then as the GM of Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Agency, we want you to please throw more light on how this is being implemented by your agency. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. And again, I want to say thank you for giving me this platform. Again, to Builder Kunle Awogodu. Is one of your own that is very passionate about this profession. And of course, he was just on my neck to make sure that I'm here today, even though under a very short hair, but never mind. Thank you very much. Now, let me first of all say that Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Agency is one of the agencies under Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. And you know that the ministry is actually in charge of all physical developments in the state. And so there are issues, there are areas of concentrations There are areas that need to be managed by specific people. And that's why we have LASCA, we have LASURA, we have LASPA, and of course, LASPEMA. Now, what's LASPEMA? LASPEMA is an agency that is saddled with the responsibility of managing all the setbacks and incidental open spaces in Lagos State. All the setbacks and incidental open spaces in Lagos State for sustainability. So for us, SDG Goal 11 is actually is in focus for us. So that's something that we are looking at, that's something that we are working towards. And I want to say that we have left that part of a very sensitive, very critical part of our environment. We have left it over the years. I want to use this opportunity to really thank the governor emeritus, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who came out of the realities of the times then. 2001, this agency was created. And what is it supposed to be? To coordinate everybody that has anything to do with that part of our critical areas. Let me say this. We have two types of land, the formal and the informal lands. The formal lands are those ones that you have your title, you have titles to, and of course the informal are the ones that are warehoused with the Ministry of Fiscal Planning as setbacks and incidental open spaces. So people think perhaps that place they can just go in there and begin to do use for whatever reason they want it. So it made the whole environment not sustainable. You have beautiful buildings, and then what you have in front of those beautiful buildings are shanties. The first thing that you will see on the urban face of Lagos is all these shanties, and that's why all of us, we need to come together and we need to see how we can bring about a more sustainable environment to deal with all these issues that has to do with misuse and abuse of all these setbacks. We're talking about safety now. Quite a number of activities are going on there that does not have a percentage of safety. How do you place it? Somebody selling cabbage and somebody selling rice or beans beside him. And the question is, I've seen that. While breaking that stone to sell, a piece of it drops in the beans. And then for our women who are coming back from work, they want to quickly go and prepare food for our children at home. The next thing is, they quickly pick the salt and then that cabbage there is there. And they cook. The next thing is to find that the whole family eats a meal at night and all of them die. That is part of the solutions that we are bringing on board to make our city more sustainable and of course our community more livable. So it's one area that it's a lot of battle. It's a lot of battle. And I think since last year that I was appointed by Mr. Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu to go and manage this critical area. You know, everybody, there's a pull factor in Lagos. Everybody wants to come in here. Builders are here to give them goods. Of course, you know the challenges that comes with that. Now, where is the next place these people settle? They settle on the setbacks and they put some shanties there. Of course, can I tell you something? On this Lekki, this setback abutting this Lekki Express Road, you have some people practically living. It's like a colony of people there with their something like this DSTV, everything. I mean, families are there, and until I've been passing through that place. I never knew that such is going on. So these are some of the things that with all of us we need to escalate and bring on board so that we can, as we are building and as we are making sure that our cities are sustainable, all these things that will count as little actually come together to become a big challenge and a big problem for us to live in a sustainable environment and city. So I want to say again that part of the things that we have been doing is to make sure again that the kind of that is dealing with climate change now, part of the things that we are doing is to make sure that the activities, identify activities that are on these setbacks that are highly inimical to to affecting our living. For example, in this state, can I tell you that we have more than over 10,000 vulcanizers in Lagos State operating on the setbacks of Lagos State. Some of them are in front of our homes and all of that. And what is it? What I did was to see how we can capture all the CO2, the carbon emissions they are coming up with, and be able to turn it around to become a credit for Lagos State. And of course, when that becomes a credit for Lagos State, it also becomes advantageous for us, even in terms of our sustainable environment that we are all looking out for. Today now, I have for them a solar-powered pumping compressor. So I just went to them yesterday, and of course they are so eager to have this, and to be able to have this one, it means that we will have told them graduates will begin to come into their profession, so that bringing efficiency, bringing things that will make sure that they themselves, they have what we call dignity. And of course, for us as a people, we have a good aeration in terms of the quality of air that we have. So these are some of the things that we are bringing on board to make sure that our environment and of course our cities become more livable and of course sustainable. Thank you.
A round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much to our discussants. We'll ask a few questions from here, and then we give the audience opportunities to ask a few questions as well. I have one question for GM Safety Commission. Sir, talking about safety, particularly we are here to discuss the shifting landscape, doing things differently. Safety on sites, usually we have to begin with a safety plan. As a builder, I know that just as designs for every building is different, so are the peculiarities of the safety plan too. So my question is this: for your agency, sir, who can submit plans, safety plans for approval by your agency? Then I also asked another question as affects insurance. While you were speaking, sir, you talked about ensuring the buildings against collapse. So my question in that regard is this: what are the criteria that you use to ascertain or determine if you are going to insure a particular building or not? But for instance, do you inquire who the professionals that carry out that construction are? What are their qualifications and certifications? What processes were the buildings built according to design and standard? What are the factors that you generally look at before going ahead to insure already constructed building against collapse, even though we know that the effects of climate change and all of that also could lead to building collapse? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just to answer, the shifting paradigm to today's world is different from 1960s. and technology has made life so much easier for everyone, particularly with regards to the construction sector, where construction engineers, construction professionals are I'd like to believe that they're more vast in knowledge. There are a lot more courses available now. A builder, and I'll give you an example of my own story. So I come from an estate management background, but I did a lot of building courses in my year 2, my year 3, even up to my year 4. I'm not a builder, but to some extent, I can understand building technology and building engineering. And I started with real estate, core real estate of investment, real estate valuation, feasibility, and agency. And I realized that this wasn't I realized that I didn't see a future for myself in that line of real estate. So I moved into real estate development and facility management. And while I was making this transition, I'm talking of 20 years ago, I realized that there was a need for me to understand safety. So I started to do a lot of safety-related courses because I realized that it was not even possible for me to operate without understanding safety. And luckily for me, the climate that was in then was such that they had to put safety first before anything else. So whether you were a builder, whether you were an engineer, you were a civil, you had to understand the basics of safety. So to answer that question, anyone really can submit a safety plan, but that person needs to have had some decent level of understanding what safety is, what a safety plan is, what a risk assessment is, what is hazard identification. What we advise and what we encourage is that for medium to large scale development, there's a need for you to have an HSC officer on site. That safety officer can then prepare all your plans, can also ensure that the plans are implemented. There's one thing to get a safety compliance certificate from us. It's another thing for you to be able to implement your activities to ensure zero error or zero accidents on the site. However, for smaller scale development, maybe it's a bungalow, maybe somewhere in the suburbs of Lagos, and the builder should have some adequate knowledge of safety. And that builder can then submit that safety plan. That safety plan will still be subject to evaluation, nevertheless. So anybody can submit a safety plan. But what we encourage people to do is to write us a letter of intention. And building this, we would send out our evaluators, we would advise, carry out risk assessments, we would advise, and then you get your safety compliance certificate. And all this whole process is seamless. We drive you through technology as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure there will likely be follow-up questions to that, but let's allow our insurance bureau to respond to some questions.
Thank you very much. I should say that there are 9 different classes of building insurance that is inculcated in our industry. The first one is builders risk insurance. The second one is general liability insurance. The third one is error and omission professional liability insurance. The third one is inland marine insurance. The fifth one is commercial and private insurance. We have workmen compensation insurance. We have pollution liability insurance. We have contractor default insurance. We have wrap-up insurance, which is OC and CC that I mentioned earlier on. All right, so the unique preposition of your building will determine the interest and the kind of insurance that is required for the kind of construction you're doing. However, there are insurance for building under construction. There are insurance for buildings that has been completed. There are insurance for home owners. That is the contents that are inside the house. There are insurance for buildings, for people coming in and out of your insurance. So the criteria, to come back to your question, the criteria for the insurance are number 1, which is in burial fidel, utmost good faith. We deal with all of the stakeholders with the benchmark that you will provide us with all of the critical and the knowledge required about the said property that is under construction. Now, I'll give you an example for construction of building under construction, which is the 2-floor. You are supposed to give us a KYC, You're supposed to submit the bid of your contract, which is the contractor one. You're supposed to submit to us the certification that you have. This certification goes in several institutions have different regulations. So we have instituted a few, all right, of the certification as a compulsory role for us to take any of the insurance policy. However, there is a general blanket for some buildings that has been completed, and we go about with our team to see how we can insure it. To the great detail, I remember sometimes a client walked into one of the leading insurance companies and he said the building, his building, has a public liability insurance. The building adjacent his building, it does not have any form of insurance. And in the course of the construction, the workers threw some items from their own construction site into his own site, thereby breaking a couple of the glass in his building. Now, he has come to us for a claim. Now, because it is a public liability insurance he took, it is public, so he was indemnified for the insurance. Now, what did we do? We now went back to the guy that was not insured to press charges on him to have built over a 2-story building without adequately insuring it. However, I'm saying that enforcement is one critical part of every viable business in every sector. If, and I must give it to Lagos State government, if all the states in the Nigeria can do as much as what Lagos State government is doing, the built industry, the relevant sister sector agencies like the insurance industry, the numbers who will be contributing to GDP will be times 10 minimum, as the case may be. The insurance industry has a very large personnel which they can do much more than the role of insuring our risks. We can also play the role of the first call manager. We have our members in every nook and cranny of Nigeria, and we virtually know all of the buildings that are not insured. So we are a major stakeholder to collaborate, to flout, to show, and tell the building industry in collaboration with the government how many of the buildings that is within the Lagos or within the metropolis of Nigeria that are insured or that are not insured. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for the response. We'll give opportunities to members of the audience to ask a few questions. Please, if you have questions, can you indicate by raising up your hands? Okay. Okay. Can we have another mic on the floor there?
Thank you very much. Again, I'm Professor Ibrahim from Calcutta University of Technology, Bosch. I want to thank the discussant for meaningful discussions, which will open up a lot of things. But first, I want to start with the health and safety man. I think we need to start shifting the landscape up from down. The question was put to you by the second moderator, that who is supposed to submit the safety document or plan? And your response was that everybody can do that. I think we need to start shifting the landscape. The builder is the custodian of the builder health and safety plan. There's a document that is prepared by a professional builder that is called Health and Safety Plan. Even if the builder is not submitting directly to you, the job is get from another person. It is the responsibility of your organization to ensure that a builder must sign and stamp that health and safety document. That is where we start shifting the landscape. I think we should start shifting. Not just anybody to submit that. Because the people that are actually involved in the production of building are the builders. And these are the people that can actually submit health and safety plan on the building. So I think that's very important. Please take note of that.
Just to, I don't think you understood me. I never said just anybody. I said anyone with the knowledge of safety and the certifications, and I give myself as a personal example. I wouldn't expect anybody to submit a safety plan. I said I made reference to the need to have a health and safety officer or manager for medium to high scale projects. I also made reference to a builder for lower level. So obviously it can't be just anyone. You can't submit what you don't know. But again, in the safety world, the safety profession has gone beyond just any profession. So you could be a medical doctor and have health and safety certification. You have HSC 1, 2, 3, you have NIBOSH, you have IOSH. I've come through a real estate profession, but I'm certified as a safety practitioner. So I think that was a misunderstanding. I never said just anybody. But wherever it is, even if it's the builder needs to have experience with regards to health and safety.
So for whatever operation that has to do with building, let's do that. For other operation that has to do with building construction, I think you must look for a document that is stamped the health and safety building plan which a builder is supposed to solve. Thank you very much. Now, the other things I want you to kindly talk about is there are other ways by which you can shift the landscape when it comes to health and safety on site, and that is very, very important. The present situation on most sites are not what is supposed to be. When there are accidents on site, what are the responsibilities of the employer? Are they actually taking care of their responsibilities? I think these are things, and how do they do it? You need to start more visitation to site to see how these contractors and these other operations are working, so that we shift the landscape in terms of giving more commitment to actual workers on site. But some people will just secure doing on site, you use a hand, you use a limb, if you see the way they have just treat workers, it's as if they are nobody. I think we need to start shifting the landscape from there. Thank you very much. Now to Mr. Madden, the insurance man. I think you also need to tell us how to shift the landscape in terms of what goes on presently with the insurance company. When you are paying the premium, it's very easy to collect the money. But when there is an accident and they now need to pay you, then we have a lot of giving case. How do we shift the landscape so that you don't give the person that is already distressed in terms of accident more wahala so that it does not go out of the system? I think we need to change the landscape in terms of that area. Is that look at that? And also, Mr. Moto Show, the mortgage bank specialist. Since you are not involved in building, you know, but you at least carry out support to those that are involved in building, whether the estate agents and others. But there's another area that you need to look into. If you are talking of sustainable building, and presently we have research interest in sustainable building from various universities here and there, don't you think it is also good for your bank to look into how you can finance researches that have to do with sustainability, especially as it affects our environment and also as it affects the building that we are going into? We can look at something like that so that we can also have something. Then the insurance.
So write everything down.
Town plan. I enjoyed your presentation. And at the end of the day, we talk about management of this open space and the setback. But we also need to start looking at how to change the landscape in terms of that area. We talk about some organizers that are polluting the air along the road. These people, that is the way they have their own daily bread. How do we change the landscape by providing sustainable environment for them to carry out their duties? I think it's very, very important. So that we will not just kick them off the road and they become another problem or nuisance to the environment.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, before you respond, sir, can we just limit our questions? Just one, just ask one question, and that will be it. So right now, we only take 3 more questions. 3 more questions. 1, 2, and then 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Prof, I think before now, this is the first time a government is looking critically at this our informal land, and of course the actors that are there. I told you 2001 this agency was created, and of course it moved to that was when it was physical planning and environment were together in Lagos State, and of course 2004 when physical planning and environment parted. So this agency moved to physical planning, and of course since then they've been trying to locate and of course be able to achieve what you are actually talking about, shifting the land to have, not just to have these people pushed out of the place, but also make the urban poor be inclusive in our planning. Of course, that is one of the reasons why I came up with that idea. What I was doing actually when I came on board is to look at all the actors on this, our critical space that affects you and I, affects businesses, affects aesthetics, affects our social well-being. The first thing I did was to carry out a research on the principal actors there, and the organizers are one of the very major ones that are there. Over 10,000 of them are on this space. And of course, what I did was to say, okay, fine. These people are polluting our environment. They cause traffic congestion. A lot of other things that they do on that setback. So the first thing I did is, okay, let me bring efficiency and of course bring in sustainability into that their business. And the first thing I did, okay, let me use solar to power these their machines. The CO2 emissions from those small machines are higher than the ones from your cars. So you can imagine 10,000 volume of such air that is released into the air every day. We have over 5 million vehicles here in Lagos, and let me say maybe 10% of that will have, say, issues with tires, and you can imagine the volume of CO2 that we are emitting. So my own sustainable idea, and that I am pushing forward to my governor, is to have these people use solar powered equipment, and with this one we will be able to contribute to mitigating the challenges of the climate problems and how we are using our environment. And of course, state government can actually go ahead and get what we call our credit from the to make sure that at least we are also contributing our own part to green environment. So it's actually something that I have done. Today I have that equipment in Nigeria, and I challenge anybody to tell me nowhere in the whole world I've seen that equipment. It's a new technology, it's a new equipment that just came into Nigeria that we went ahead abroad to go and get people to design it for us, specifically for our environment. And that's our own contribution, so that we are not going to just send them out of that place or say what we are putting in instrumentation that will make them be able to purchase this equipment very seamlessly, and of course they become part of our environment, because they have a critical sector. One of their slogans is no tire, no movement. Is it not so? No tire, no movement. That's their slogan. And so, sir, we are doing something in that area, and we are looking forward to all of you. I'm looking forward to be organizer the nearest future, because see, let me give you one statistics. One boy came to me and said, graduate. He said, yes sir, I mean too, I can become a organizer. I said, how? He said, sir, okay, I've gone to check 5 million cars, 10% of 5 million. 5 million is 500,000. Okay, 500,000. It means that even if I can target, say, 20 of those vehicles, and I'm able to make 1,000 naira on each vehicle, that means to say 20,000 per day. So 30 days, 600,000. Which bank will pay me that one as a fresh graduate? And so me too, I said, I put my JK cap on. I said, I must do something in that area. That is one thing that I brought for you today. So you pay me.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Madam Professor. Your advice is well taken. We would stride it on our way forward. It's going to be on collaborative basis also, because that will be between the suppliers, the demand, which ourselves, as well as the universities and other stakeholders. So we'll look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. So for those who are going to ask questions, I will ask that they all ask their questions. So while they are asking their questions, the discussants will take note, and then they'll respond, as it affects them. Thank you very much. So let's start, with you.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your contribution. My name is Gulia Shobowade. My question goes to our safety man, and it's about how safety transaction is being presently run in Lagos now. You find out that what you see around is this board. Two things I want us to clarify about it. One is that you see these people when they come to your site, sometimes they appear to look like Lagos State staff, while some other times they're just like private people. But recently I heard from a colleague that the Lagos State has actually outsourced some of these services to some private consultants. We need clarification on that. Secondly is, when they actually come, their focus is not always on technical assessment or thereabouts, but it's just always focused on that payment. And when these payments are made, you hardly get an official receipt. Because if truly it has been contracted to some private company, we're supposed to have an official receipt with the logo of Lagos State on one side and their own logo on the other side, so that we can be sure that what we're really remitting to them actually gets in the coffers of Lagos State. Thank you.
So the next to elders are.
Good afternoon. I normally discuss that, and I appreciate the way they approach the issues. Mine is going to the safety man. Accidents don't just happen, they are caused. Let's get that straight. Accidents don't just happen, they are caused. You cater much about the professionals following the rules and submitting this and getting approval. We are not talking about the people they are going to work with on that side. I believe in what we call toolbox talk on safety. If you get to a site, I could not be able to align or discuss with people you are trying to work with. It's useless. But you didn't go that area. It means your organization is not looking at the other people, the skilled people I'm talking about now. It's only catered about the professionals or somebody submitting a plan and getting approval and following the rules. But when they get to site, that rules is not followed. I think toolbox talk is so important, which we need to follow. It's a critical area. The other one is the issue of organizers. You are bringing in now solar something, and you say they are disturbing traffic. Do you provide place for them when you are doing your planning that the organizer can stay on the road? Even the model and the Koro way, they are not provided for, no bus stop for them, apart from the government issues. So that issue is still pending down safety too. If you are talking about safety, we should be able to look at it critically. The insurance issues are another case. I've seen people working on site and they want to enjoy themselves because they told them that an insurance on that side and they can be able to get money later in their life. They practically enjoy themselves willingly so as to get money. All these are the things we need to look into. That's my submission.
Thank you. So, Dr.
Thank you very much. The head of the Department of Building here at College of Tech. I just want to make this contribution, some of them actually questions to come out of that. The first thing I want to say is that what belongs to everybody belongs to nobody. And so it's just a quick contribution to the discussion on whether anybody or somebody can submit a health and safety plan. The truth is that the agency must begin to be specific about who is that professional that must submit the safety plan. We cannot afford to be diplomatic in our choice of words. That is very important. Now, yesterday we established the fact that human activities actually contribute to climate change. The source of climate change is human activity, and it was also corroborated by one of the speakers in the issue of the organizers. I align with you. In the course of answering, I want you to further define the two types of line that you put forward to us. But in the course of your asking one of the questions, I think you still gave it to the other side, so I'm confused. I want to know the former, which one is former, which one is informal. Having said that, the emission of greenhouse gases, human activities generate them. And all of us are engaged, whether we like it or not. Part of it, we have telephone rolled up in Lagos State. And you see people also using generators in their houses. On the road, you see all sorts of emission of carbon dioxide. Yesterday, I don't know if you remember, I gave an example of a niece of mine who harbored plants inside her bedroom and was always falling sick. All of a sudden, I discovered she had that when I traveled to meet her where she was. And discovered that it was the plant that was sharing the oxygen with her at night. Because in the afternoon, plants will bring out oxygen and taking carbon dioxide. In the night, plants will switch over, begin to share the taking in oxygen and bringing out carbon dioxide. So it's an earth issue. Every one of us were in danger. And you discover that the global warming that we are having is as a result of those depletions, and the result of human activities too. All the gases, the carbon dioxide, covering the ozone layer, creating global warming, and a lot of issues on them. And people are falling sick more. So the question now, generally, is that what is the government doing, especially with all those setbacks you are talking about? Because we end up creating a social problem again. And we don't want to have, I think we've had enough. We don't want to have more people who are jobless now and begin to attack people who are doing their legitimate work. So you must be conscious of the social implications of the actions you want to take. How many people can afford even the solar power energy you are talking about? How many people, I want to ask that question, can afford that? It's so prohibitive in prices. So the government must look at that. And finally, I want to also say that I align with Enadu Lesotho, the Peruvian economics, who said that there are so more people who are poor in the urban centers than the rich ones. And the reason for that was because there were no titles to their properties. Most people cannot afford titles, so they build properties. So we have an accumulation of properties, capitals that are not in the official sectors. People cannot access to. I'm talking about the mortgage people now. What do we do? What will the government do to help everybody needs help? I don't know about you, but I know I need help. And you are in that position to assist us. Let that be our takeaway from this place. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think that the last person on that hour.
I'm the Gariba Femi and I appreciate our discussants. On the mortgage man, if I may ask, what plans are ground whereby your services will be able to touch the most common man on the streets, and how can that be achieved? Maybe in a situation where I know that I'm paying 1.2 billion naira for an house rent as a rich man, and I know that, well, in the next 20 years, the house will be mine. Or I am paying maybe 400 to 500,000 naira for house rent, and in the next 20 years, the house will become mine. So what are the plans that the mortgage industry are putting in place in order for that to be achieved? Thank you.
No, okay. No, that wasn't part of the plan. It wasn't part of the plan. So they got enough questions. Let's allow them to answer the questions, and then if thereafter we'll have more time, we can pick one or two more. Thank you, sir. So, do I suppose start from you? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I must say, shifting the landscape when it comes to the insurance, I'll divide it into two perspectives. One is enforcement and the other is the claim payment. For the enforcement, for any defaulter that does not have an insurance policy in the course of its construction, under the Insurance Act of 2003, Section 68, stipulates that any defaulter should pay a fine of 100,000 or an imprisonment of 1 year. In changing the landscape, I think that law needs to be reviewed. So, if that law is reviewed, fear will be put into the mind of the person. So, I can imagine 100,000 and a million naira. It does not make a lot of impact. So, builders can all, by their means, choose to follow the other way. So, it's empirical that the industry sits together and begin to look at collaborative way to partner with the government and bring a regulatory framework that will bring stringent sanctions on defaulters of builders. For every collapsed building, it has multiplier effect on the builder, on the sector, on the relevant sector, on the government, on the image and the identity of the state and the image and the identity of the country. So it's one very critical role that we need to put into consideration. Now, for the claims indicators, for every time a builder, a contractor, or the owner of a property gets an insurance policy, the first thing that should be at your mind should be claim at first instance. Okay, so the insurance industry has gathered so much capacity with the support of the regulatory body, which is NICOM, in conjunction with the federal government to provide adequate capacity for the insurance company to stand the test of time. In a couple of years, the industry is going to be reviewing our recapitalization to begin to build bigger capacity that can incubate strength to cover all class of risks. No gainsaying finally that in the Western world, the insurance industry owns the bank and other financial players in the industry. But the different is the case in Nigeria. The banking industry does vice versa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to answer the questions, thank you very much, Professor. Thank you, Doctor. I'll just focus on the 2 or 3 that I noted. One was in the process. What's the process of getting safety compliance in Lagos? The first step is for the builder to write to the Lagos State Safety Commission requesting for, it's called a letter of intent, and you'll state the location of the project, what you're building, the duration of your project. After that, there's an official feedback from the Commission designating a specified consultant that will come and carry out safety risk analysis or hazard identification on that particular project. You made reference to the fact that Lagos State is using consultants. Yes, with a city of over 22 million people, there's no way possible that the Lagos State Safety Commission can have enough people that will cover the whole of Lagos State. So these consultants act as a first level of assessment. But before the compliance certificate is issued, this is verified by staff of the Lagos State Safety Commission. Yes, there have been incidents that have come to our attention where we've had bad eggs in the society that would portray themselves as consultants. If you're in doubt, please check our website. It's lsdsafety.com, lsdsafety.com, and our numbers are clearly displayed. So if eventually you have concerns about the person or persons that are coming, please confirm this. Also, I'm also using this opportunity to say that safety is everyone's responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the consultants or the builder or the government. Safety is everyone's responsibility. So if you see someone come to your site that is not interested in talking to you about how to make your site safer, that is only interested in just making money, then that person obviously is not from us. And if that person is a registered safety consultant, then please report the person. Again, do not make any payments to any individual accounts. I repeat, do not make any payments to any individual accounts. Our bank accounts are clearly stated on our website, lsdsafety.com. So all payments should go to Lagos State Government, and once you make those payments, you will indeed get a receipt acknowledging payment. And once your process of evaluation is completed, you will get a safety compliance certificate. So the message I'd like is to give today is to ensure that you always get your safety compliance certificates. This way you will know whether those people that come to meet you are quacks or not. The second question was about the ownership of safety. Yes, I really I appreciate that question, and I'm just basically restating and reiterating the fact that safety is everyone's responsibility. It starts from leadership, commitment, and also requires leadership, followership, participation. So the need for toolbox talks are more than important. Every day before you start your daily activities, it's always important that a toolbox session is held that emphasizes the importance of zero accidents on site, that talks about the different artisans that are on site. And it's also important to have a structured way of having your toolbox talks. So today it might be on welfare, tomorrow it might be on working on heights. The next day can be control of substances and hazardous to health, can be on use of PPE, but it's very, very important that toolbox talks are carried out. We continue to carry out training sessions. I'm happy to meet with the head of NIOB to see how we can even deepen this relationship and have training sessions, safety sessions, and even certifications for people in this sector. And then the last question was something around enforcement. We at the Safety Commission, we have a 4 E's program. The first is evaluating the risk that I mentioned. The second is educating people. We continually have these educational sessions where we have people in the classroom, we have people on the sites, having practical and theoretical sessions that are absolutely free in terms of safety. The third is engagement sessions like this where members of the Safety Commission go around to talking to the different professional bodies on the importance of safety and seeing how we can deepen collaboration with them. And the last is enforcement. I've been in this job for a bit now, but the Lagos State Safety Commission is still the only safety commission in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we're like the forerunner. We're learning as we go along, and we're learning our mistakes, we're getting finer with time. And we can also state that we're proud to note that a number of states, as at last count, about 8 states have come to meet us to say, how are you doing it? What is your methodology? What is your work plan? We would also like to have this kind of commission in our states. And as my member collects, we've had about 8 states that have come to meet us to say they also want to set up. I believe that when we have more safety commissions across the country, this would indeed increase the awareness of safety. And also, we defended, the Safety Commission championed and defended the occupational safety kit, and I'm proud to announce that the January of this month at the Federal Executive Council, the federal government passed the occupational safety and health kit across all the 46 states of the Federation. So what it means now is that in the civil service you can decide to work as an occupational safety officer. I think this deserves a round of applause. Thank you. And I think lastly, in terms of enforcement, we regularly receive petitions from different stakeholders and people that are building, if there's a falling from height or people that are storing improper materials that are meant for construction in general places, in open places. We regularly receive these petitions and we follow through. The whole point is, how do we build a sustainable city of 22 million people that in the next 10 years become 32 million people? How do we ensure that we capture all of them? How do we ensure that we build safety around all the processes that we do? How do we ensure that people think safe first before they act? Thank you.
Well, let me thank the 2 people that came up with questions, especially the one talking about locating these organizers. Let me tell you the background of this agency. And that is, the agency was created to deal with that part of the law of Lagos State Urban and Regional Planning and Development Law 2019, Section 2E and Section 2A. Section 2E of that law talks about determination of places of infrastructural facilities and of course of economic activities. Now, the 2N talks about standardization, how it will be affixed to urban furnitures, how it will be affixed to the land, as the case will be. So these 2 laws are actually what we are using. So for me, all the people that are actors on this informal land are people that we are now trying to collect them, that give them location. I am not just going to say if organizers have this equipment, but also I am also evoking the spirit behind Section 2N of that law to locate them at the right place. And of course, I'm working very well with the association. I have told them, the executive have told them, we cannot do the same thing again. We are going to be creating what I call some lay-bys for them, do some civil works, so that at least when they are attending to this, to their proponents, of course, their customers, they'll be able to do that without affecting the movement of goods and services as well. So there's going to be a location, we are going to locate them, and then of course, we are also going to do what we call what we call Lagos, an app for the Lagos organizers. What is this one going to achieve? You see, it's going to achieve is, if we are talking about Lagos smart city, everything about it must begin to come up smart. So, the organizers, you want your vehicle breaks down. It's not just that you want to begin to wander around. All you need to do is download that app, and of course, since we have located them at our own specific place where we know it's sustainable, it's not going to affect anything. Of course, with that app, we locate the nearest one for you, and of course, you can call the person, and then the person can come to you wherever you are and do your service you. And of course, making sure that those people, before they leave their place, you as the person calling them, you must have paid some money into their account. You must credit them. We are here to determine that amount. And of course, when they get to you, they discuss with you. If the business is fine, you go on, they collect their money, cash, for that one. But the other one, for leaving their place, that one is their own consultancy. So, and then that's what we are bringing for them. So that these people, they'll be able to stay where we want them. These are carrot and stick that we have brought, so that they'll be able to stay where we want them to stay. And with this new machine that we are bringing on board, I mean, we are going to give them a time to phase out the one used by PMS and this PMS and the oil stock that they are using before. So that is one of the things that we are doing to make sure that it's not just anywhere they will be and they will do whatever they like. So that's that. Then this other question came talking about defining the formal land and the formal land. Well, as it relates to this assignment, the formal lands are those lands that are titled, those ones that you can attach a name or ownership to, like your normal, and all those kind of land are warehoused with lands bureau. That's where all those lands are warehoused. They know who owns what, they allocate such land. Those are the formal lands that you can really title to something. Now for the informal, those ones are the lands that are not titled, that seems to be nobody's land. And all those lands are warehoused with Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development. And in most cases, these lands are lands that are for future development. They are for future development, they are for future expansions and whatever. So that is the difference between the formal land and the informal land I was talking about in this case. So quite a number of things that we are doing for these people, with this urban poor, and because they are here with us, and we need to really plan with them and also plan for them. And one of the reasons, and to make this city sustainable, so that all of us one day will not just find the whole place clogged up and will not be able to move. So we need to, that's one of the reasons why we are starting to manage, designate, locate, and make sure that whatever structures that come up, whether urban furniture as urban furniture or any use, don't forget the people that populate this setback are the informal sector people, and they are very critical. They contribute between 65 to 70% they contribute 65 to 70% to our GDP. Thank you. To the GDP, and they are also the highest employer of labor. Again, they form the lower strata. They are the people that are the lower strata of our society. They don't have education. They don't know the implication of all the things that they are doing. So And they are massive on this place. They are putting all these places to misuse and abuse. So for us and for government, that's one why we are taking that place very, very important now. We cannot just sweep them off so that we don't create a social, political, economic problem. Yes, we can't do that. So that's why we need to plan with them and also plan for them. Lagos is going to begin to wear a new look now. We are coming up with Lagos kiosk. What's Lagos kiosk? We want to make sure that nobody uses all this wood and what have you for all these kiosks that we see. And that will also have a positive effect on our forest, because we have lesser of this wood that will be used for, we won't have people using this wood for kiosk again. Of course, designed, standardized kiosk is coming up in Lagos, and that will help our movability. It will come up, it's movability in the city. See, at times you are in your place, you don't know even where to get, probably you want to dress up and the button pulls off. You don't even know where to get it. Of course, one of the things that we are doing is to have a data of all these people. As I speak with you today, I have 7,500 on my database of these organizations. Their names are still coming. And of course, we are doing for others. So for us to have a capture of the people on the setback, we need to standardize these urban furniture that we see that come with different shapes, different colors. Some of them, they look like places where masquerade comes out from. You understand? I cut my hair here with that structure that is improperly placed on that setback. And of course, now that Lagos State has banned Okada, now we are going to be doing more of walking. So those spaces that we are going to be walking are where all these people are. So it's a critical area of our space today that we are giving all urban all planning instrumentation to play with and to make sure that we come up with something that can be sustainable. If you have, all this, somebody talked about emissions from generators, from homes, and from the side of the road and what have you. Yes, all these kiosks that we are talking about, they are going to be solar. Just like what we have done with the vulcanizer, it's going to be solar. Who are the people there? The people with the vending machines, the people doing POS, and of course the grocery people. And of course, what stops us from having, I'm stabilizing something for people who can have an office. We have to be creative. Office, we have them at different locations at the CBDs. So that people who have appointments and what have you can just go there, do their work there, and they do with the business machine to be there, and they do things, and they make the city really, really smart indeed. So these are the things that we have. It's a huge one, and we are up to the task, and we're working towards this. Thank you very much. Also, talking about how many of them can afford these machines. Of course, we know the only thing that we are doing for them now is to get the financial institution to work out arrangement for them to have a long time of payment of this equipment, so that eventually they'll be able to pay. Don't see all these informal people that you think they are not making money. A lot is happening. I just gave you a matrix now. So 600,000. If the man is ready to pay like 50,000 naira a month from that, I think over time, 1.5 years, he will have X amount of money that probably will be able to use to pay off the equipment, and it becomes his own permanently. It becomes something that it will begin to make extra money now, because all the money that was supposed to go for PMS and oil, everything would have been gone now. And then of course they become more money in their pockets, and then higher purchase, higher power to purchase things in this, and then the social fabric is also encouraged, becomes stronger, and everybody is happy within the urban setting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to the three people that mentioned something and asked questions on mortgage. So let me build a bit. The paper that I actually prepared has something about enhancing mortgage integration and penetration in Nigeria. However, as you are taught in the university by our professors, you limit yourself to what you are asked to discuss. That's why I limited myself to environmental sustainability. However, in response to the questions and comments, prior to 2001, I remember vividly in Lagos State, there were about over 57 procedures that anybody will require for perfection and title transfer. The costs across Nigeria range between 44 and 57% of the value of property or the loan that anybody wants to borrow. And it took procedures that were uncountable. However, due to advocacy, today in Lagos State, at least formally, any borrower is supposed to incur just 3% of the value. So assuming you want to do a 10 million loan, you are supposed to spend about 300,000. Okay, that's the paper. In reality, it takes not less than about 25–30% for any Nigerian to do title transfer and perfection. So, to address the issues raised by our doctor that talked about this, the issue of wealth creation, and our madam, we are working on various issues as mortgage sector stakeholders. Our plan as NIGERIAN, our association, that we are pulling and pushing what we call a 131 formula to the Nigerian governors. That means anybody that wants to borrow 10 million shouldn't spend more than 1% for title transfer. It should be more than 3 days and 1 desk. So that's our model. Then we believe that years to come, that will happen. That will assist a lot on the issue of title transfer. You are absolutely right, sir. And to my colleague here, the percentage of land in Nigeria that is not titled, which is what you will get as formal, is very, very huge. And that is affecting not only mortgage, but urban development in Nigeria, as well as creation of wealth by Nigerians. Because if you own a property and it is titled, it gives you the ambience to use the property to generate so much of wealth, which is not happening right now. So we've been trying to make appeal to the Governors Forum that there's what we call the model mortgage foreclosure law, which simplifies title transfer and perfection. As of today, we can say about 5 states have passed the law. Lagos is one of them, gladly. Kaduna is there. We have about 12 that are in the pipeline towards passing the law. When that law is passed, it makes title transfer and perfection to be quite less troublesome. And we have been able to pass to the government that it will generate more revenue. Because when you have only 1,000 people that have properties today and want to transfer at about 1 million, it's different from when they want to transfer 100,000. So the economies of scale is going to be to the advantage of both the government and the people. But most importantly, the governors are holding this land on behalf of the people. So why should we make what we are holding to become difficult for everybody? To Madam, we are also working on, I'm sure you read of recent, the 25% RSA contribution to those who are pension holders. It was an initiative that came from us, and today we are happy that it is live, which means that those of us that are contributors to pension in Nigeria, you can use at least 25% of your existing contribution, so long as you have done it for 5 years minimum, to be part of your equity towards home ownership as well as rent to own. Because there are two avenues that you can own today. You can buy outright and you can do rent to own. So, Madam who mentioned about rent, if you dimension the number very well, what we pay as rent monthly, if we turn it to mortgage, you'll be surprised that most Nigerians will be able to afford over a long period of time. As we had done also, let me assure you that it used to be 5-10 years tenure mortgage in Nigeria, but today it's 25 and 30 years, which gives a very long period for Nigerians to own. And you can also do joint, a husband and wife. You can jointly own a home. Once you are able to at least do all the numbers and the mortgage lender is able to appraise you very well. I know that what Nigerians want to hear most is interest rate. Because out of 100 Nigerians, if you say take a mortgage, the question was is at what rate? Let the we will give you, I will talk to you very soon as to what we are doing and what we have done to address interest rate to at least approaching single digit. Once we achieve it, we'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sirs. Our discussants have done justice to this topic. Can we also give them a round of applause, please? Having done justice to the topics, we'll be presenting awards to our discussants. And to do this, I'll be inviting Builder Honorable Bimbo Kolade, the second Vice President, Nigerian Story, to come and present awards. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll be calling them one by one. But before I do this, let's appreciate them again all our and it's been a very wonderful topic and issue. And it's a good avenue for us to pass on our advocacy. And especially I must appreciate the GM from Lagos State Safety Commission for the well advocacy on the issue of safety matters in Lagos State. And I believe that, as we know, that Lagos is a mini Nigeria and it's something that will spread around. And I sure know that the issue of safety commission will soon spread around Nigeria. And which, of course, we have said that about 8 states has already come here already to understudy the Lagos State Safety Commission. So we encourage our people in Lagos State of the need for them to come meet you for a proper, better advocacy on the issues where building construction safety comes into place. It's a matter of law in Nigeria that as far as building construction safety is concerned, it's the duties of the builders to prepare what we call builders documents, of which the health and safety of construction workers on site, it's a requirement of it. Actually, it's expected that before the physical planning people will approve your building plan, that building construction health and safety on site is part of the document that you need to submit. as you are submitting your architectural drawings, your structural engineering drawing, the builder's document drawing paper should be part of what the physical planning people will look at before you are approving your building plans. So it means, I know that it's a matter of advocacy which surely we will try to do more, and there is one of the reasons why things like this is being organized. And I must again appreciate the Lagos State chapter of the NIOB. You see, in the last 3 years, they have changed the part of the shifting landscape. Lagos State chapter has changed the issue of our conferences and all that, and I believe that very soon the national will take into this also. I know Professor Rahim may not be happy about that. I believe that we have enough of all these academic paper. How many of us have we not enjoyed this much more better than our routine somebody coming and reading out all technicalities and everything? We know we need that, but I know that at the national level we will try to encourage this kind of stuff. Thank you very much. We know that you are the Yala chapter. Keep it up. So I will then go ahead and do this assignment. You know, you have come and you recognize that which you have done, with us today. So the first person I'll call is Mr. Badeko Ola Meru. Okay. And we are presenting this in appreciation. Yeah, the next person, Mr. Lanley Omonjola. That's the Director General. That's the Director General Lagos State Safety Commission.
Baba.
Pamplana Dice of Montosho, the General Manager Lagos State Planning and Environmental Agency, Monitoring Agency.
My name is Pamplana Daisy Shop. Daisy, not from Motor Shop. Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Agency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daisy Shop. You know the problem. That's one of the trouble that we have when people appear in this kind of attire. So that is, if you have appeared like an Oshoma, nobody will know you are a shop. In this, you cannot see or show you. Thank you very much, Mr. Daisy. Yeah, the next person is Mr. Kayode of Montosho, Executive Secretary, Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria. You know, thank you very much. Actually, I wanted to come at you also. Because when we are talking of the shifting the landscape, I believe one of the troubles that we have close in Nigeria is that we don't see the mortgage working. In housing development now, There's something else that we said that is an Ibadan system of building, which we have called incremental housing unit. You see, my people in Ibadan, because we will not make mortgage available for us, we will get a plot of land, do our building plan for a 3-bedroom flat, do the foundation for a 3-bedroom flat, bring up the sitting room and the bedroom, and we will park inside the house. We will start living there, and we will start building the house more and more and more. That is how Ibadan becomes the biggest city in Africa that we are seeing. It's peculiar because of Ibadan, and we are selling it to the world. That's incremental housing unit. But we are going to make it more available to us. Thank you very much.
However, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. The people that we do not know that mortgage is working. And that's part of the reason why I struggle to be here because of Mr. Omodu. Because the more we have knowledge, the more exposed we will be. The fact is that mortgage is working. But there's something that is a bit difficult with us as Nigerians. We feel interest rates. Once we hear double-digit interest rates, we step back. However, it is better that we do a double-digit interest and be able to and do capital gain on your house than to run off from interest and you can't buy the house and you can't get what to do. Okay, we'll take it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Without much ado, I'm going to invite the Vice Chairman, Nigerian Stock, the Lagos State Chapter, in the person of Mr. Thomas Adoye, to give a vote of thanks to our panelists. Thereafter, we will now take photographs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, on behalf of the Institute and all the great builders here, we say a very big thank you to all our discussants. Starting from the insurance guru, thank you very much. God will bless you. To my Director General Safety Commission, where we have been calling you and you have been responding to us every time. This is 2019. Thank you very much. God will bless you. We still need more of you. My own dear, thank you very much. The mortgage man, thank you, sir. God bless you. God will be with you all. We have taken we are not taking your time for granted. We know that you are very important to us. We are stakeholders. So we need, whenever we call upon you, we want you to come again. Thank you. God will bless you. To all my great builders, we say a very big thank you for taking your time. We have been here for the past 2 days, and I know we are enjoying the discussion. God will bless all of you. Thank you very much, and remain blessed. Okay, our partner, which are the artisans, they are here. If you are in the hall, let us identify you by standing up. We so much appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you. The real estate developers in our ministry. Real estate developers. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank God. God bless you, everyone. Thank you. God bless you.